have colleagues from health? Oh, nice. Led by? HOD. Okay, wonderful. I know there's a new HOD. I've never seen her before. I hope HOD, is it you?
Yes, Chair.
Dr. Nomonde, welcome. I hope you are ready. We've got our AKs, me and member Diache here. Yeah, we are ready to shoot today on behalf of stakeholders. We are starting our meeting, but before we do that, apparently procedure is that we must declare this precinct as a legislature. So whatever business we do here today, this hall where we are seated today, it's now the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. So the conduct, the behavior, and how we engage one another should reflect that of the House. We must not misrepresent Gauteng Legislature. And this is done in terms of Rule 56, subsection 1 of the standing rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, subsection 1 and subsection 2. So now we're in the legislature. Whatever business we do here, we do it on behalf of provincial government of Gauteng. Whatever we say here, we say it on behalf of the provincial government of Gauteng. So we're starting with a meeting. I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you who are here today and apologize for starting late. We can see technology is not best of our friend. The number of things that needed to be cleared, especially the technical glitches. And without wasting time, we'll ask Ms. Maureen Chabalala to give us any apologies that need to be recorded so that we are able to continue with our meeting. Ms. Chabalala.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning, honorable members. Chair, we received an apology from Honorable Namsi Mufama, who has early bereavement today. And Chair, we received an apology from MEC for Health, who indicated that she's joining a premier today on oversight. And Chair, we have just received an apology from MEC for DID that is also joining the premier. Chair, MEC Finance, Honorable Nkomo, also tendered her apology, but she said she will join a bit later, but she is being represented by the office of the CFO, Mr. Thabang Nkomo, and Tabiseng Seroba from the office of the MEC. And Chair, we have the Department of Health and Infrastructure being represented by the HODs. Thanks, Chair. Bye.
Thank you so much, Mo. May it be recorded that we are rejecting apologies from the MECs. We are not taking those apologies. This meeting has been scheduled, cancelled, primarily because we wanted MECs to be in this meeting. We are rejecting the apologies. We'll take any other apology except for the apologies that comes from the MECs. And we must write a formal complaint to the Premier and the Speaker of the Legislature. This is not fair. We've got people here whom we have invited, stakeholders that needed to hear directly from MECs as political heads. I don't know how many times we've been convening and reconvening, primarily because we wanted MECs to be in this meeting. So let it be noted, we're not taking any apology from any MEC, and we're going to formally complain to both the Speaker of the House and the Premier of the province. The purpose of today's meeting, ladies and gentlemen, or before we go there, honorable members who have logged in, is there anyone who wants to apologize? Probably need to go somewhere if we are not done by this particular time.
Well, hoping we'll be done by that particular time.
Chair, that's Member Lizia.
Who is that?
Member Litsia, Chair.
Yes, Member Litsie.
Yeah, Chair would request that I be excused if we are not done by 12 o'clock.
By 12.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Fuchs.
No, I'm fine, Chair. I'm fine. I'm hoping we'll be done by the time agreed.
What time is that you're expecting us to be done by?
I'm hoping 12:30 will be done, Chair, looking at the agenda.
All right. No, it's fine. Is there any other member? So we can.
Member Fuchs.
Who?
Member Fuchs.
Yes, Member Fuchs.
Chair, I'll be traveling shortly, and I'm not sure what sort of reception I'll receive, but I will try and hopefully I'll be audible later on in the meeting when I want to make some input.
All right. Thank you, Member Fuchs. I hope, Hansat, you were able to pick up apologies. Member Mabala.
Yeah,
Who's-
I just wanted. Yeah, I wanted to second you on that one of not accepting apologies from MEC. I mean, this is too much. Enough is enough now. So I second that we should have an official complaint sent to the Speaker of the House and the Premier. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you so much, Member Mabala. Peter, who's Peter who? Who's PM? Peter who? Oh, it's you. Oh, okay. So the purpose of today's meeting, ladies and gentlemen, is to receive reports or status report on both Ashanti Gold Hospital and Kopanong Hospital. And we've tried, I know, to invite stakeholders involved so that they can hear how far is government with regards to both Kopanong and Ashanti, and they be given an opportunity to engage with both MEC of Health and MEC of Infrastructure as political heads. Unfortunately, we have heard they are not here, and you, as the stakeholders, you would know how many times we've been trying to convene this meeting. At times, we'll be called in the morning to be told that the meeting is no longer taking place because MECs are not available. And today, as you heard, apologies are from both MECs, which really for me doesn't make sense. And hence we would want to officially complain to the Premier. However, HOD Infrastructure Development and Property Management is here. We learned that the HOD from Health is also here. Administratively, they'll be able to answer to your questions. And those that they cannot answer, they will take them back to their political heads. And then if needs be, we'll reconvene again, where both MECs will be in the meeting, where you'll be able to raise your frustrations with them, especially on the back and forth type of an arrangement, that you wake up, you prepare, sometimes you get called, you're already on your way here. Today, myself and Maureen, yesterday, were discussing whether we continue the meeting or we do not continue, because we were learned that there would be a national shutdown. And Maureen says, Chair, don't stress too much. If indeed there is shutdown, there's a plan B, that the meeting will be virtual, so we can still continue with the meeting. I'm glad that we are able to meet here, so that, interaction, a type of physical interaction, at times is much better than the virtual interaction. Because sometimes an individual can log in and leave. And if you don't kick them out, they will continue to log in until next week. They'll forever be logged in because they don't realize the meeting has concluded because they're not in a meeting. Sometimes they respond, you can hear that this person doesn't even know what he's responding to because they were not listening to what was being discussed. But when we're seated here, it's easy to pick up certain things. So I will then invite a presentation, I'm not sure, between HOD Infrastructure and HOD Health, who's going to lead, who's going to make presentation, and so on and so forth. So that period, we'll leave it to you. We'll take both presentation, and then we'll have a discussion based on the both presentation. So both of you, I suppose your responsibilities are the same if you are HODs. I don't know if you are acting, whether you've got the same responsibility as acting HOD with HOD, but I'll leave it to you. You'll sort it out, and then we're here to listen to your presentation. Thank you, HOD.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, all members of the Portfolio Committee. This is Tulani Mtatane, the Head of Department for DID. Chair, we have agreed as two departments, HODs, that will present one report for the two presentations. DID will lead. As part of the development of the report, the DID team did consultation with the team at Health, and the report, it's one report. Chair, probably before I do the presentation, I would want to formally present to the portfolio committee the new CFO, who we have been long waiting for as DID. Sitting on my left is Miss Nora Lyon. She joined the department last week on the 1st of June. We are very excited that finally the department has made a decision and she finally joined the department.
She's not acting.
No, she's not acting.
Okay.
She is a permanent until retirement at 65. Yeah, that's what it is, Chair. Thanks very much. The presentation on the non-payment of SMMEs at Kopanong Hospital will be done by acting DDG, Mr. Mahapa. Thank you very much on behalf of the two departments. Or is it Anglo? Right, the Anglo one will be done by Head of Legal Services, Chair, as a follow-up and update, Ms. Cornelia Nokaga.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee and colleagues. I will be doing the presentation in terms of the progress report for the Anglo Hospital. The department engaged with the SIU and we received a mandate that we could proceed and engage Harmony. A meeting was held on the 5th of May 2022 and the departments agreed regarding the process of donation. Harmony is amenable to our request for donation, but they have set out certain conditions. They have indicated that in terms of their policies, any donation is supposed to be at a zero cost to them. However, they do understand that sometimes that is not possible, so the donation would then have to be as close to zero as possible. And then a proclamation would have to be done, a subdivision and the rezoning of the property. There is also the issue of outstanding payments that the department had not done for services that had been rendered in terms of water and electricity and sewage removal that are outstanding in an amount of close to 6 million. They would also require those to actually be paid and any additional services that are then utilized. They would also require that there be the bulk services transfer and an SLA would ultimately be entered into. That would then deal with the issues pertaining to the electricity, the roads, the water, and the sanitation. The parties also agree that a task team needs to be formed that will deal with the technical and legal issues that arise from that particular process. The DID did then assure Harmony that we would then have to appoint consultants to assist DID in terms of that particular process. Ultimately, the parties resolved that we would then enter into an MOU that would then be utilized to preserve and protect the facility. Currently, there have been various challenges at the facility in terms of people that are breaking into the facility and they are stripping some of the items that are there at the facility. Harmony currently does have a security in place, and they have indicated to us that they have 37 armed security. They are facing further challenges in that they actually call it a war zone, that from about 2 a.m., there are people that come onto the property just at a hill just above from there, and they shoot, and a shootout happens with the security because these people are adamant that they want to come onto the property. There has been further stripping in terms of the lines for electricity where they've dug up trenches and removed all the wiring. Some of them have been arrested, and there was actually a bakkie load full of electrical wiring that was also then arrested at the scene. We then engaged with the SIU on the 23rd of May to get support on our proposals. And the SIU then requested a draft memo be sent to them for their consideration, because whatever it is that we do, we need to link it back to the SIU process at the special tribunal, where they have done an application to set aside the lease agreement that had been entered into by the parties. What we then envisage is that we will enter into a settlement agreement with Harmony, and then subsequently that settlement agreement will be placed before the judge at the special tribunal, and it will then be made an order of court. There was a further meeting with SIU and Harmony on Wednesday, and we have then agreed that the legal teams, together with the legal team from the Department of Health, would then engage and work on the draft agreement. The matter before the SIU is currently set down for the 1st to the 2nd of August, and we have agreed that if we can just fast track this particular matter, and we can then have it signed off even before the 1st of August. Thank you.
Can I add, Chairperson? Chair, I think it's important for the Portfolio Committee to note that the area where the building is, it's becoming a very security compromised area, and that poses a problem for the medical team from the Department of Health even to begin to want to work from there. If we are to deploy any government officials to go there, it's important that once the donation settlement agreement has been finalized between the provincial government and Anglo Gold, that security be strengthened by both Department of Health, if Health will be the user, including DID as a custodian. So it's a work that both the security teams of both departments, assisted by the State Security Agency, will have to look at before we can even begin to deploy what would be adequate security per se. So it's a work that is currently, we will have to engage the state security so that certain recommendations would be given to us. You recall that, Chair, generally that as government departments, we do not use armed guard security. We normally call on subs to intervene when the security companies are failing. But in this regard, we'll have no option but to use the armed guard, because in the last 3 months, there have been at least 3 incidents where there has been a breaking in this building, where certain items have been stolen, where lives have been threatened, and so forth. But Chair, I'm happy with the agreement that we have reached with the SIU, that for any amount to be paid by the province, first let's conclude the donation agreement, which will be an enforceable document by all parties. Because, Chair, where we are now, we're at a point where we didn't have any document that we can enforce by law. We didn't have a commitment letter. We didn't have any long-term lease. The lease that we had expired, and therefore it opened up a number of challenges from both ends. So I'm hoping that as our head of legal has presented, that if we present the donation settlement agreement and ordered by a judge, it will then be the final process, and all parties will have to oblige by the conditions of that donation agreement while the donation process, because as I must indicate that for the donation to happen and transfer of property to happen, it takes longer in terms of conveyancing process, because in this regard, Chair, we'll have first to ring fence the building from the mine to the province, ring fence the bulk infrastructure from the mine to the province, also the sewage, water, electricity, bulk infrastructure that is currently there will have to be redirected and ring fence only and solely for the purpose of the province once the donation has been reached. Thank you very much, Chair.
No, thank you so much, HOD. HOD Health, from your side, any addition?
Thank you, Chair, honorable members. Nothing much to add from our side except to say that the issues raised regarding security in the area have been raised sharply by our clinicians. So as we decide as to exactly what to do with the building post the signing of the agreement, I think that will be an important consideration for us. We haven't decided yet whether the Department of Health would indeed be able to take over. That's discussion still open, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we then take the second presentation? Stakeholders, I'm sure you are noting your engagement, your questions, concerns, and comments. Can you get the next
Thanks, Chair.
presentation?
The second presentation, Chair, will be done by Mr. Mahapa. I think it's safe to add, Chair, that we are also engaging other Department of Social Development as a potential user in the case the department does not take an offer. So the process is already underway. So in case health does not take the use of the building, social development has indicated an interest to use it for what we'll call a rehabilitation facility for their patients in terms of their mandate. So we are having a plan in place while the other legal process are underway. Either there will be a dual use or there will be a single use. Thank you very much. DDG Mahapa will then take the Kopanong Hospital presentation, which is also a joint presentation.
Thank you, HOD. Good morning to the Chair, member and the members in the meeting. Chair, I'll be doing the presentation for Kopanong as an update from our last meeting that we had in the legislature regarding the non-payment of the SMMEs. Firstly, Chair, just to give a background again as to the projects that we have at Kopanong. We had the original COVID-19 project that was done by the contractor Kondoco. That project commenced on the 29th of June 2020. It was originally a 4-month contract, and that contract, due to the slow progress on site, was terminated on the 15th of January 2021. At the time of termination, the project was sitting at 65%. The contractor disputed the termination and initiated a dispute process. Then he took the department to adjudication. The adjudicator's decision regarding the matter of termination and the claims that the contractor had against the department was that the contractor's claim is dismissed. The contractor is ordered to pay the employer costs relating to adjudication, including the cost of the junior counsel. The contractor is ordered to pay the adjudicator's cost as well. The contractor then took the adjudicator's decision on review with the High Court. The matter is yet to be heard by the High Court. So that is where the status of that contract is, Chair. Then, subsequent to the termination, we have the completion contract by Kondoco. By Conco. Pardon that typo. By Conco, who is appointed as the completion contractor. CONCO was appointed in May of 2021.
Let's get something clear so that we're not confused. CONCO is a new contract.
Yes, Chair.
CONDOCO is the one you terminate the contract. Okay.
Correct, Chair. Yes, the names are quite synonymous. They are quite close. Yes. CONCO did the Jubilee one, Chair, the ABT, and they actually did a good work. Yes. They were appointed in May of 2021. However, Chair, they couldn't start with the works on site due to number of issues. The first issue being the unresolved payments of the SMMEs, as you are aware, Chair. And then the second one being the matter of the defects on site. There was a matter of defects up to the amount, I think, about 44 million at the time, that the contractor said that we should agree upon before he can start on site. And then the third one being the repurposing of the structure. So to date, from May 2021 till today, we have not been able to hand over that site. However, in summary, we can say that at the time, we had agreed with the SMEs that we can open the site, pending that we also deal with their other issues with the CONDOCO simultaneously as they are still working on site. I'm just going to skip the background, Chair. We have given the background in the summary. That is just the layout for everybody of the site, how it's going to be. In terms of the non-payment of the SMMEs, Chair, as per the last meeting that we had with the portfolio committee, we were tasked as DID to go engage with CONDOCO in terms of the them coming to the legislature, one, to come account for the non-payment of the SMMEs and see if we cannot come to an agreement. If I can just, my screen is too small, Chair, I can't read from there, but I'll give it in summary, Chair. The response from CONDOCO was that they are not willing to meet with the legislature, they are not willing to meet with the department unless they are meeting for matters of a settlement. They also, the letter from their lawyer also discussed their displeasure in the department discussing matters of contractual matters with the SMMEs. They noted that the SMMEs are contracted to them and there is no contractual relationship between the department and the SMMEs. Secondly, they also noted that some of the SMMEs have already started with legal processes with them, which they are attending to. So as a fact, they will not be willing to meet with the legislature or the department unless there is a matter of discussing a settlement. And they also said that they want an agenda to be on the table first before they can actually meet. That was for the meeting, Chair, that was scheduled for the 9th. The meeting today, another request was sent to CONDOCO. Similar response was received from their lawyers. They referred us to the matter of this letter of the 9th, and then they also said they still maintain that they can only meet if we are discussing a settlement with the department to stop the legal processes. They will not be entertaining any meeting. Chair, just in conclusion, to say that the agreement that we had with the SMMEs for CONCO to take them over as SMMEs for the continuation project or the completion project is awaiting the decision of the repurposing. That decision from the Department of Health is still outstanding. We were are expecting that brief to be done by today, so that we can be able to then have a way forward in terms of the resumption of works on site and the contracting of the SMMEs to go forward. So that is where we are standing at the moment, Chair. We still have a stalemate with the contractor, and we can't move forward as yet, as we have not concluded, as Department of Health has not yet concluded the matter of the repurposing. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. If I could just conclude the presentation. I think in principle, Chair, there is a conversation that is underway between the two accounting officers that the repurposing should be concluded soon. The commitment that we have facilitated as DID is that whoever gets to be appointed as a completion contractor in terms of the new repurposing scope would have to use the existing SMMEs on site that were there. However, we would make sure as a department that whatever discussion that we put in place would have to be signed accordingly and be signed upfront before the site is established, to ensure that any matters of dispute do not arise when works has already commenced. So at this point, Chair, we are of the view that once our colleague from Health has given us the scope, we'll then immediately proceed with the other arrangement to ensure that we re-establish this site. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. If I may, on the question of repurposing, on Monday, the 6th of June, we met with the district manager at Bank to discuss how best to utilize the facility for the needs of the district. The direction and the sense that we get from the manager of the district is that that facility could be utilized for district offices, as well as one discipline in health services, specifically internal medicine, where they have a lot of a burden of disease in that regard. So we had decided, with the input from the district, to repurpose that ABT for district health offices, and as well as internal medicine patients for the district. Some of it will be used for CHC, Johann Haynes patients, but also linked to internal medicine services. So briefly, Chair, that the repurposing discussion is currently underway with the district, and these are the two main uses that they have identified for the facility. We'll be finalizing that decision early in the coming week, and we will after that then go back to DID with a project plan and a request for work in that regard. Thank you, Chair. If I may, Chair, through you, on the question of non-payment of service provide of SMMEs, could I please request CFO Health to give input as to what our responsibility is in that? Thank you, Chair.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, members of the committee. My apologies. I think I'm just sitting on an awkward position, but I think it's safe to say, Chairperson, that Health does not necessarily have a problem with payment of funds or invoices to any supplier. What we need, of course, is confirmation of services rendered from the implementing agent. And of course, to also ensure that the funds relating to the project itself have been secured through the provincial treasury, either through rollover or a budget confirmation within the estimates of capital expenditure. We have had a discussion indirectly with our counterparts, but safe to say, honestly, we depend on DID to confirm on the execution of the project as to whether work has been completed based on the project plan, and over and above that, to also ensure that we don't pay for services that have already been paid for based on the initial contractor who was then given funding or invoiced and also paid. So I think it will only be guidance from the implementing agent to Gauteng Health in terms of what now needs to be secured. The department may also need to consult with the provincial treasury in terms of, possibly readjustment of funding. As we're all aware, the project was supposed to be implemented or executed and completed in 2020 financial year. And of course, there has been hiccups here and there in terms of termination of the previous contractor and appointment of a new one. So it honestly has an impact on the overall budget allocation of the department in terms of the ECE allocation. And we might now need to consult with Treasury if only DID can confirm that we have not paid for these kind of services before, and we now need to also pay for them at this present moment or in this current financial year. Thank you.
HOD, Doctor. I think your colleague might want to reconsider her first statement. I think you want to reconsider. If you remember what you said when you first spoke, you want to reconsider that. And I'll give you a chance to rethink how best you want to put that, because it's on record. And without fear of contradiction, I can safely here ask these subcontractors here if they agree with what you said, and 90% of them will not agree with what you said. So just reconsider your first statement. Just ask Hansard there to play you the clip of what you said, your very first initial statement, health not having problems with pain. You would want
That's
to
exactly what I'm
it's
saying,
fine, it's fine. Let's not debate it. I'm just saying you would want to reconsider, and I'll come back to you. So we give you a chance. HOD infrastructure. I know that I'm a very slow person naturally. Don't run away from the screen. I want that. Yeah, the very last. Yeah, just beam it so that it's nice and clear. Before I allow members who have logged in to engage so that we can then allow our stakeholders to engage. HOD Health, HOD DID, and the presenter from DID. Your last statement, what does it seek to say? I'm struggling with it. The very last bullet on conclusion. I'm unable to reconcile myself with that statement. And maybe it's because it's a standard 1, standard 2, and people have gone to grade 1 and grade 2. Maybe that's the problem. But I'm honestly struggling to reconcile myself with the very last bullet. And I'm asking, is it necessary, that bullet? If HOD Health, what you said to us, that you had a meeting with the colleagues in Citibank, in finding out how best can that facility be used. And then you have a statement that says, whilst the decision on building of the ABT was done in an emergency, the repurposing process is not. So it's not an emergency. The repurposing of that structure, the amount of
That's some first way, but we're not going to just
the project was 4 months. It was at 65% ready. After how long did the department came to a decision to say, let's terminate the contract? From 4 months, what was the budget? How much was spent at the time that the contract was at 65%? And we're saying, don't make it small, Mchan. Make it big so that I can read that thing. We're sitting here, we're saying to the legislature, the initial budget, for argument's sake, was 200 million. which was supposed to be spent over a period of 4 months. When we stopped the contract, it was 18 months down the line, and it was only at 65%. But it was an emergency when we took out 200 million to say, go and build this. They call it IPM. I don't know what it means, but number of projects, they will say IPM, Tebekuman, IPM, ban. What is the purpose of having an IPM as a department? When the project is taking place, it's failing, it's not meeting its target on time and with quality, but we have someone who's responsible from the department overseeing that project. A person who's responsible for Kopano Hospital should have came to the department on time and say, hey, Matod, Kondoko will not be able to do what they said they're going to do. No one says anything. 4 months down the line, no one says anything. Subcontractors continue to use their money funding and funding the project from their own pockets because they are from the Val, they feel the pain, they understand the need of this facility. From their own pockets, they continue to fund the project to a point where the department takes a decision to terminate. No one goes to subcontractors, say, Mamelani, this is where we are now. From now onwards, we can no longer continue. And that's where the problem is, communication. We were held hostage ourselves about Kopano, something that had nothing to do with us, but we were held hostage. We were told you're not going anywhere. We are tired. Now we come and say, no, it's not an emergency. This one. It's okay, no problem. We are told, no, we've got no problem in paying service providers. We're told, yeah, we're told that. And I'm saying, here, the subcontract, we can ask them. They will tell you something. We can call contractors, even not subcontractors that are doing work, and tell you their frustrations in terms of being paid. But we were told pain is not the problem. We had a meeting with the MEC of Health telling us why the department is unable to pay contractors. It's on record, MEC of Health. Today we're told, no, we don't have a problem of pay. What are we doing here? Why are we here? HOD, Health, HOD, DID. Why the decision on OBT was an emergency? Can you treat the repurposing as an emergency? Can you have time frames on this repurposing? Can we have timelines? Can we agree that by this time, this thing will have been completed? Failing which, a man must fall on his sword. It can't be. Me and member Diach, we're not permanently employed. We rely on hands. We rely on people going to put an X. If they don't, we're out. I'm told someone must work until he's 65 before they can consider retirement. I don't have that luxury. And these are the things that makes me and member Diach out. Because we're unable to deliver on our mandate given by the people of the province. Why? Because we work with people who are permanently employed, they've got no problem. I ask, what is the point of having an IPM if a contract cannot continue and IPM is there? What are they doing on site? We went to Jubilee. We went to there to see the hospital there. CEO of Jubilee, CEO of this one here that bent the other day, Charlotte McClake, CEO of Barra Hospital, CEO that hospital where Ashanti, the acting CEO or acting what there, things that they were saying to us are horrible, shocking. Yet we don't have a problem in paying. Yet it's not an emergency. Let me take hands from members who have logged in. I'll end with Member Diakhi because he's here with me. Can we take hands from members who have logged in? I see a hand. I don't know whose hand is that. I see members with hands. Yeah. Member Fox. Member, your hand. Member Mabala, I see your hand. And two others. Okay, we've got 3 hands. We'll take those 3 hands. Member Ndlovu, Member Mabala, and Member Fuchs.
Chair, thank you very much. I think you may have raised quite a number of issues, but without saying much, mine is to also ask on issues of the timelines and further to say from accounting officers, can we agree in this meeting that if comes a time when we were told that the project would be complete and the projects are not complete, action must be taken. I think it's quite time now that action is taken. I mean, 3 years projects, 1 year projects, 2 year projects, they take 4 years, 5, 6, 7 years. And accounting officers, they come to us here, we bash them because it's them whom we must bash. But the reality is that there are project managers who are responsible for these things. And we've always said in relation to the DIT that the planning is very, very questionable. And there is a need to upgrade at that level, to do better, because it's where we are mostly affected. All our projects, they start on time, they don't finish on time, they are stopped. And it seems now the reason mainly becomes the subcontractors or the SMMEs, and at times when it is not. I mean, not every project is affected by SMMEs, others are not, but people still stay in their work, still do their work as if nothing has happened. And I'm also not clued up in terms of how officials work and account, but I'm sure that if one is not performing, there are actions that are ought to be taken. So if we can be taken through that and taken to confidence that such things will happen moving forward, because it can't be normal when the situation is abnormal. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much, Member Ndlovu. Member Mabala.
Thank you very much, Chair. Can I request Peter M to mute his mic because it's interfering on our side, those who are virtual. There are some funny sounds coming from his side. Peter M. Chair, with regards to Chair, can I request Peter M to mute, please? Can you request?
Peter, are you able to mute your mic? Apparently, it's causing disruption.
Thank you very much, Chair. With regards to Anglo Ashanti, you know, I am actually very disappointed because, you know, the department initially, they misled us as a committee, not only us, but also the people of Gauteng, because they gave us an impression that the hospital was donated. They didn't specify the conditions that were given to them. And it's only now that when we interrogate them, then they come here and tell us that there were some sort of conditions in terms of, you know, fully donating the hospital, and the title did be in the department's name. But I don't know. But we have people, senior people within the department who knows all of these things, but they don't disclose when they come to us. You know, they gave us this story of a nice gesture from the mine donating this hospital, and the hospital was was revamped. And to think about it, Chair, I mean, almost $500 million was spent on this hospital. And I can promise you now, I can tell you now that when our term ends in 2024, it will be the same issues that we are raising now. The next members who are going to be sitting in this committee, they will be given a runaround because there is no sense of agency in terms of these two departments. One is a budget holder, one is an implementer. When the budget implementer doesn't implement, the budget holder keeps quiet as if it's business as usual. In this case, we know that the budget holder, it's the Department of Health, and the implementer, it's the Department DID. But there seems to be no relationship or working relationship between the two departments, Chair. And then moving to Kopanong, I remember very well, I was also with you, Chair, and the other members when we were held hostage by the subcontractors. And we cannot blame them because they have delivered on their part. But because we have people in these departments who don't care because themselves, they are getting paid every month. I don't know whether they get paid on the 15th like us or on the 25th, but they get a bank notification every month and get paid their salaries. These subcontractors, on the other hand, they are SMMEs who are trying to make a living, and also it's not what they are doing is actually good because it's part of service delivery, but the department, both departments, they don't care as to what are these people eating at the end of the day. I mean, here we're talking about people who are breadwinners, Chair, but there seem to be no care from Department of Health and Infrastructure. And another thing, Chair, when it comes to these suppliers who are not doing their job properly, because if you listen to the responses that we were given about, I don't know whether what's the company's name, Kudo Co or whatever, the arrogancy in them saying they cannot be part of the, meetings and they are using their lawyers. I can tell you now, Chair, the same company, even if we can be blacklisted today, tomorrow it will be working in Jubilee. You know why? Because there is a habit of when we blacklist, we don't blacklist the directors. I think it's about time that we must blacklist the directors of these companies because they have plenty companies. If company Mabala today is not delivering at Kopano, they're going to blacklist Mabala Constructions. And then Mabala goes to Jubilee with a company name called Gwena Trading. And when that company gets there, they still get a business from government. So I think we should look into this thing of blacklisting. I think the blacklisting should start by blacklisting directors themselves, because by blacklisting companies, it doesn't, there is nothing. Even I'm sure where they're sitting, like those companies that were blacklisted for misusing COVID funds, wherever they are sitting, they are laughing because they know that, they've blacklisted Mabal, but with Koena Trading, I can still do business with government. So I think we should actually zoom in and see if we can blacklist the directors, because most of these companies, they don't even take subcontractors serious. They take them as if they are doing them favors by working with them because they are the main supplier. So I think we should protect our SMMEs by all means possible. And in this case of Kopanong, this matter should be resolved as soon as possible. Thank you, Chairperson.
Chair, may I continue? Am I audible? Chair, am I audible? Chair, am I audible?
You are audible to us, Member Fuchs, but I'm not sure if the meeting can hear you.
I am fairly new to relatively new to the committee, but one of the things that I do want to establish is my understanding. $3 million prepared, and you didn't know whether it was a donation at the time. Can we just, yeah, don't let anyone get myself. Can I continue? How is it possible that you incur a cost for over 500 million? And HOD, I'm asking you the question because unfortunately you came after the fact, but maybe Health can explain. How do you incur a cost for over 500 million on a structure that's not even yours? Even if a command center gave you the instruction, it just doesn't make sense. And now we're backtracking, trying to make it I really don't understand. Over 3 million rand per bed. You didn't buy the land, you didn't build the facility, all you had to do was refurbish. It sounds very, very wrong. And it's really a pity that the MEC that was responsible for this department initially is not here to account. And it is really unfortunate that the HOD who came after the fact or the MEC who came after the fact has to account. Municipality for services already rendered. That is exactly why we have a situation where municipalities are suffering because the legislature, the Gauteng provincial legislature, departments such as health and DID are not paying municipalities for services that they have received. So no matter what you try and tell us after the fact is that you used services and months and years later you haven't paid for it. That is an unacceptable practice. And that is precisely why we are here, because we are now trying to clean our tracks behind us. You are failing our residents. And as the Honourable Chairperson is saying, it is us who have to go back to the voters and explain while you sit in your cushy jobs and wash your hands as if you've done nothing wrong. Well, let me tell you, I believe that the head of this department should be held accountable together with the CFO for this money that's practically washed down the drain. The MEC should be here to account for what has happened. And it's really, it's a shame that it hasn't happened. To come in retrospect, fix something, it's unacceptable. You didn't have a donation. you spend money on something that wasn't yours. That is tantamount to fruitless and wasteful expenditure, as far as I'm concerned. I don't even know that we treated any patients in that facility, and the pandemic is now over. When it comes to Kopanong, I must tell you, again, this is not really what I was hoping to see. What I was hoping to hear today is how we're going to solve the problem. We still don't know. But I do want to make a suggestion. It is my understanding that there is a set contract that we use with contractors. Why can we not have an addendum to a contract that will involve DID with SMMEs? If we are, and again, I'm really sorry that the NEC is not here, because I've had this conversation with the NEC before about the behavior of contractors towards SMMEs. If we really are a caring government, we would take far more of an interest in what's happening to the SMMEs. If it is true that the government says that 30% of it's a policy, that 30% of a total value of a contract must be attributed to small, medium enterprises, what role does the department play, or more specifically, where is the project manager in this? Surely, as my honorable friend, the chairperson, had said, if it is true that this project was due to, or supposed to take 4 months, where was the project manager in on day 121 of this contract? Did they not realize that it wasn't going to finish? And then 11 months later to be at 65%, surely somebody must have picked up that there's a problem. Where was the project manager and the head of this department, HOD? Again, unfortunately, this comes to you because when you take over a government, you take over the good and you take over the bad. When you take over the department, you take over the good and you take over the bad. Unfortunately, there's no blanket amnesty for bad behavior with your predecessor, and now you have to answer that question. Where was the project manager when these SMMEs were not being paid? Did the project manager not know that the SMMEs had completed or not completed their jobs? Surely it shouldn't take SMMEs to hold a committee to a hostage for the CFO to suddenly realize we can indeed pay. So I must tell you, I'm deeply disappointed, Chairperson, about these presentations. This wasn't really what I was hoping to hear, and I don't think we can leave it here. As you rightfully said, somebody must fall on their sword, and it's totally unacceptable. But to both HODs, I don't think you've got control over your departments if this is the quality of work that you present to us. We are moving backwards, we are not moving forward. And I dare say that I smell a rat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Member Diak. You know,
Member Fuchs, you hear me?
Oh, Member Fuchs.
Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes, sir. Can you hear us?
Yes, now I can hear you. Thank you, Chair.
Please make your input.
Chair, thank you very much. Chair, you know, if you look at just these 2 projects, we're talking about almost R1 billion of public money that's been plowed into 2 projects that have come to a total standstill. Who are the real victims here? The victims of the taxpayers of this province. R1 billion plowed into projects that are standing still and are going nowhere at this point in time. Now, Chair, if we talk about Anglo Gold, you know, the report, if you read the report carefully that was sent to us, okay, what the report deals with is the situation in which we found ourselves as a result of poor decision-making, poor planning, lack of oversight, and waste of money. The fact that money was spent on a facility that did not and does not belong to government is scandalous. Now, this is exacerbated by the alleged unconstitutionality of the agreement between DID and the owners of the hospital, by the alleged unlawful appointment of contractors in pursuance of corruption, and the allegations of unjust enrichment against the owners of the hospital. The public expects us to be professionals, but we have once again showed ourselves to be amateurs. There is, however, Chair, a very important element that is missing from this report that I would like to highlight. That is that the Premier and his COVID Command Council took the decision without due diligence to spend about 700 million on refurbishment and medical equipment to create just 181 ICU beds. That equates to 3.8 million per bed. To make matters worse, the hospital was never used for its intended purpose, and now there are discussions to decide how to repurpose it. That will cost additional money and time. The absolute disregard for public funds is demonstrated by the fact that a totally new high-tech hospital can be built from scratch for this amount of money. Chair, this has to be one of the most wasteful decisions in the history of government in Gauteng. And in my view, it borders on negligence. The Premier must answer for this poor decision. In terms of Kopanong, Chair, let's be honest about it. Just like the Anglo Gold, the project itself is a train smash. There's no other way to describe it. You know, what we see in the report are things like a lack of DID oversight over shoddy workmanship, the appointment of contractors who don't have the necessary skills, lack of communication between DID and health. These are things we have control over, yet we just can't seem to get it right. So what all of this suggests is that there's generally a lack of skill and expertise to produce value for money infrastructure. I'm not sure about the rest of you, on my colleagues on the portfolio committee, but I'm sick and tired of projects failing because contractors do not have the necessary skills. Unless and until you implement a performance management system for contractors, this administration will keep on flushing public money into a dark pit. Now, many of our projects are delayed because of subcontractors that are not being paid. It is simply not acceptable for the department to say that they are not party to the contract between contractor and subcontractors, and therefore the department sits with arms folded while the projects stall. When I suggested that the contract between the department and the contractor be changed to provide leverage over contractors who do not pay, the MEC said that the contract cannot be changed because it is a standard industry contract. Doing nothing is not an option, and our legal people need to apply their minds and find a mechanism which gives the department leverage to intervene in such a dispute. Why is it there's continuous finger pointing between DID and health about a lack of timely communication? Chair, we are wasting our time and the public's money. Unless there is systematic intervention and change, I'm sorry to say that all hope is lost. Thank you, Chair.
For every problem, there ought to be a solution. What can we learn from a situation of Kopano as government, especially when it relates to subcontractors? What can we take from Kopano so that we do better in the next project that we're involved in, be it health, be it education, be it sports, whether it can be courts or library? What can we take from the situation of Kopano? Now, it says to me, HOD, DID, we need to have a mechanism that seeks to protect subcontractors from the main contractor. You as a client You as the person who pays the contract, OC says they only pay when there's evidence that work has been done. But then who looks after the subcontractors once the contract has been paid? Who ensures that subcontractors also get paid? Now we need to develop a mechanism, a system of some sort that seeks to protect subcontractors from the main contractors. If needs be, let's enter into a legal contract with the contractor that says to him, once your subcontractors submit whatever that is due to them, we will pay you what is due, and then the difference we will directly pay the subcontractors to ensure that they are being paid. You know, some contractors in the van, one lady said to us, the bank is repossessing her house because the money she had, she invested the money in the project. And I'm sure the guys from Kondoko don't care. And they have been paid. Let's develop mechanism that seeks to say to contractors, or rather subcontractors, we take you serious. And tomorrow we don't want you to be continuously being a subcontractor. There's a time where you must also be a contractor. And for you to do that is that you must be able to have money in the bank of the contract. I mean, what's the point of getting into a project? You have 2 million in your account. When the project is finished, you are sitting with minus 16 million. What's the point? These are human beings. Let's protect them. And that's why we call them today, so that they are aware that their issues are not swept under the carpet. I don't sit somewhere with the HOD and the MEC and dine and wine and laugh about your problems. From the day we met with you in Kopano to today, every day we continue pushing. But we can only push within the legal ambit. We can't do anything beyond that. HOD, the presentation says subcontractors in Kopanong have been engaged for the purpose of repurposing Kopanong so that they be part and parcel of the whole entire project. I'm not sure if they are part of the value chain of the project and so on and so forth, but they must be appointed as subcontractors. Are we going to protect them this time around? Are we going to ensure that they are protected? And actually, I think this thing of IPM, you need to move very close into that thing. Move very close. Whoever is appointed on behalf of the infrastructure development in a particular project as an IPM, I don't know whether they get appointed or whether it's a permanent responsibilities to be IPMs, but you need to move very close. If this was a football team, that IPM should have been fired because they would have failed in their mandate. It cannot be correct. How do you reconcile yourself with a project of 4 months? 16, 18 months down the line, you are still busy with that project, and you can see it's not going anywhere. But you can't even raise an alarm to say, calm, there's a problem here. Let's stop what we're doing. Unless, of course, Member Fuchs is correct by saying most of the people who are in infrastructure don't know what they're doing. They don't have the necessary capacity or capabilities. They don't have the necessary skills for them to be doing what they're supposed to be doing in the infrastructure. And therefore, we need an overhaul of some sort. It can be. HOD health. Kopanong is an emergency. It ought to be treated as an emergency. The continuous meetings, engaging, hey, what can we do with this thing? Hey, no, we're thinking Yaupe Rehab Center. No, let's do offices. No, what about Sanka? No, let's do Nico. It can't. There are people who are suffering. These subcontractors, these ones here, they've lost money. They're sitting here. I'm sure some of them borrowed money to come here. It can't be correct. Let's have clear timelines, and we are going to give you that responsibility. You are going to come to us in writing to say, we have taken a decision, this is how long we're going to take, and this is what we are doing in that thing. But June will not end without that commitment. And that's why we wanted MEC to be here, so that we can tell her. Both MECs were supposed to be here, so we tell them. We're abusing these people, these ones here. And we're doing it on purpose because we've got the skills, we've got the technical know-how to subvert these things. It shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't. I want you tonight when you sleep, ask yourself, have you done your best in order to resolve the problem of these subcontractors here? It's well and good that they've agreed that the contractor can come on site. When is the contractor going on site? When are we starting with repurposing? What are we waiting for? What is the challenge? Because it's not saying anything. The presentation does not speak to these things. It gives us a holistic approach to say this is what we're thinking. But by when? Because not we cannot think forever. At some stage, you must write the exam and move to the next level. You can't continue reading and reading and reading without the result. There's this thing from health that Anglo Ashanti has been donated. Premier went on State of the Province address on any media platform that he could to tell people that Anglo Ashanti has been donated to province. Up until today, HOD, maybe now that there's an HOD in the department, we'll get a report as to say what has happened to the person or the people who misled the Premier to announce that Anglo Ashanti has been donated when that is not true. We spent almost 600 million on Ashanti. Up until today, it's not complete, it can't be used. I have not heard anyone I know there are some 9 officials that have been suspended, and I bet you they're suspended with full pay. While these people here are suffering, these ones here. They are on full pay. No problem, life goes on. In the municipality, they say you are in a pool. You can only be used as and when needs be. You just float there, no problem. These people there that have been suspended, the 9 officials, I swear, they're on full pay. And they're not worried. Whether you call them back or not, it doesn't matter. Come month end, if it's month end, come the 15th, if it's the 15th, they get paid. These ones get letters from the banks and the lawyers and whatnot. But it's okay, no problem. And let's continue, it's business as usual. It can't be correct. It can't be correct. How do you judge your performance? How do you say, now, yeah, I'm performing? At what point do you say that? When we're seated in the office and the invoice comes, MEC says, one of the reasons, I'm sure HOD you'll remember, MEC in the meeting says to us, one of the reasons health is not paying is because there are duplicates in terms of invoices. Duplicates. But there's no one who's been suspended. If MEC can pick up that there are duplicates invoices, why can't you suspend? Why do you continue allowing these people to bring you duplicates in terms of payment? You pay Kondoko today and you pay Kondoko tomorrow for the same project, for the same job. And then you tell us that there's no problem in paying. But here they are, they've not been paid. We need to protect these people more than we protect the contract. Because these are the ones who do their job, these ones here. Some of them have lost their houses. Yeah. Can't be correct. Let's do something. Let's show them that you are a government that cares. And we feel their pain. These are family men, these are family husbands and fathers who are unable to provide for their children. Because everything they had, they put it in this project with the belief that something will come out of it. Wrong investment. Only if they knew, I'm sure they would not have entered into that project. HOD, please speak to your IPM. Because sooner or later, we're going to have a meeting with them. From now onwards, no project that is going to be undertaken by the department that will go beyond its mandate. And no project will be initiated without involving the local contractors and the local community. Once a decision has been taken that we're going to build a Kumbi court, the first thing that we do is to go to that ward, speak to the ward council, engage with the ward committee, call a public meeting, tell them what is going to happen, what is expected of them as a community members, long before anyone moves into site. so that we avoid these unnecessary stoppages and so on. And so, because some of the contractors enjoy these stoppages. It's good for their companies because they prolong the time of a project, and prolonging time, it means more money for them. So let's do things differently this time around. If we're going to repurpose, let's call them, tell them, this is what we're going to do. This is what is expected of you as a subcontract, so that they can tell you, no, this one can do this one. When we move in, within time, within budget and quality project, delivered, move to the next project. Let's work differently, Chudi. We trust in you. When you were announced, the premier was excited. Show the people of Gauteng why they had to go and headhunt you to come to health. Show us why you had to go, MEC had to go to KZN to fetch you. Show us. Whilst we're complaining in our corners that but the Yaheze could have been an HOD, show us why they had to find you. Why had to drive all the way from KZN to come to Gauteng. Show these people here why you were fetched. Let it not be business as usual. Let me take hands from yourselves. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Do you have a roving mic? You don't have a roving mic. Where's the... Yeah, come sit here as you speak. Ozanla. Ozanto hlalana. Maybe nizoba which amen nani. Ozanto hlalana. Angithi I gave you numbers. Yeah, ozohlala la. Ethi ahlale next to you then. Yeah, ahlale next to you. Omunye ahlale next to you. Ni forms. 1, 2. The last one, Magazela. Thank you. So, okay, we'll do this way. We'll be number 1, number 2, number 3. All right.
I greet all in the house here. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. Chairman, as well as the members of the Portfolio Committee for inviting us to this meeting. My name is Sam Fihlani. I'm from Boipatong, in the vicinity of Sidibeng in Mfuleni local municipality. I'm the representatives of these SMMEs. They've given me a full mandate to represent them regarding the issue of the outstanding payments. So I will just request from you, my honorable chairman, to stand, because when I'm sitting, I've got a little bit of a tongue. I cannot speak properly. It's an honor to be invited here. We were very worried because we thought it will be the same like the meeting of the 9th, whereby the health department did not attend. But we are disappointed that the MECs, both of them, have not honored this meeting, which literally shows that they don't care. Even today, I've always said that the Batupili principle, it's very important, but I see it is not at all. The person who's important is our first citizen in Gauteng, who is the premier. Because always when are these meetings, we'll hear at the 11th hour that we cannot make it to the meeting because the premier has summoned us where we are going to cut the ribbon for a certain project in Attridgeville or blah, blah, Kuruleni. So it simply means that our concerns as the SMM is nothing, is not important to them. The chairman has said something here. He says most of you have been headhunted. We will excuse the new HOD of health, but I cannot excuse Ntate Mtata, as I've indicated last time. Ladies and gentlemen, I disagree with the chairman as well as the member, Ntate Fuchs, when they say it seems as if what you are doing, you don't know it in both of your departments. You know it very well because you are a careerist when it comes to technocrats. You know all the rules in the book. It's not a problem to pay us. Uchilo Sisi now, the CFO of health. And for your own information, we have done the work and there is a proof when you go on site that the work has been done and completed. So you can be able to pay us. So what I'm going to request, I'll take less than 10 minutes before the other speakers comes through. I will shoot and go straight to the report, which has been compiled by Zanele as the person who was the project manager. This report is misleading. Prove me wrong. It's totally misleading. That's why it doesn't have a financial report into it. And now I'm saying it is totally misleading the portfolio committee because it's riddled with lies. I'm going to do something here, Mr. Chairman, with your approval. I've requested this gentleman to give you each and every letter of this when I go through what you have learned and what has been presented to us. The first letter is the letter which was given to the subcontractors on the 18th of January. We got it from Condocor. It was advising us that the contract of Condocor has been terminated on the 15th of January 2021. Therefore, we were very surprised because as the role players in the project, we believed that before you take a decision of terminating a contract, there are warnings, written warnings that are issued to the main contractor. It's a first warning, which is called an early warning. It's a second warning. Then a third warning is the termination. We were never informed by the contractor that there's a first warning and a second warning so that we must pull our sources. Well, always as a SMM is subcontracted to the project, we have made sure that we keep to our program, which we have done collectively with the site agent as well as the project manager of Condocor. We have never fallen behind. With the payments that were done in December, we never enjoyed that money because what we did, we bought material knowing that the project was for only 3 months. That is from 20th July up until the 30th of October. But what is called an extension of time was requested to the client by the main contractor. Then in December, when they paid us on the 25th, they said, don't use that money, buy extra material so that in January, we know that we hit the road running. We don't have a problem to say we have a shortage of material. And you must bear in mind and remember, it was during the time of COVID. Suppliers had a very problem when it was coming to procuring the material. We had to have lead time items that we had to pay in cash because they were taking advantage of the scarcity of material. So it's the first thing. But on the report, we are very surprised today that Mrs. Zanele is saying he only became aware of our issue of payment in June 2021, on the 21st. It's the first time when she got the letter from us, which is wrong. Here's the first letter, Dr. Chairman. Here's the second letter of the 18th, which was indicating that the thing has been terminated. Then immediately after that, on the 20th, we received an email which said we must come and fetch our containers and all our resources from the site. We are given 2 days. Failing to do that, they will forfeit them to Condor. That was after 2 days, we have received a letter of termination. Upon seeing that, I took it upon myself as requested by these SMEs. As in the letter, the project manager have made it clear, the project manager from Condor, that we must contact Zanele in all that we want to do. I contacted Mrs. Zanele to say we are requesting an urgent meeting with you because we are in the dark of what has transpired and what has led to the contract to be terminated. So a meeting was organized and convened on the 5th of February. In that meeting, it was the project manager from DID, Mrs. Zanele. It was his assistant, Mr. Kense Molefe. Then it was the representatives from Condor. That is Cornelius, who happened to be a quantity surveyor, as well as the site agent, Molefe, the site agent from Condor. Then there was also the new consultant, MP Plus. At that meeting, they gave us the reasons which have led to the termination of the contract. Then I said, I've been mandated by these people to find out, since there are outstanding payments from the contractor which has been terminated, how are we going to deal with that matter? Then they said, it is agreed that today we have called the representatives of the contractor Condor. DID is here, as well as the new incoming consultants will be taking over. We want you guys to quantify all the work that you have done up to date, that you have not been paid for. So each and every subcontractor was accompanied by DID representative, by Condor representatives, which was a QS as well as a site agent, to make sure you don't claim for the work that has already been paid for. And upon the completion of that exercise, we were told that with immediate effect, with all the material that you have, particularly for the guy who was doing the windows, because it was a customized material, go, we're giving you 3 days, go and fabricate the windows as well as the doors and the shop fronts, and you deliver them to site. Bear in mind, that material was a material valuing around 800,000. They accompanied him to his workshop. At the workshop, they quantified the material and said, with the period that we have, you cannot be able to use all of this material. So he used almost plus minus 40% of that material because of the limited time that was given to him. Then he delivered that material to site. At that time, his invoice was standing at 600,000. But with the extra material that he has to deliver after the termination was effected, it added another 600,000. Then I was given an instruction to say, Sam, submit, make sure that you collect all those invoices and submit them. I submitted the invoices to both Mrs. Zanele and the representative of Condocor, which is Cornelius. I have that on my email. When I submitted the invoices, because the meeting was on the 5th, I submitted the invoices after 3 days, which was on the 8th. And we were given an impression that we were going to be paid. And you must differentiate here. We are adults. Yes, the contract has been terminated when? On the 15th. And the DID comes and gives me its confidence to say for the material that has been left, we will take responsibility of that, we'll pay for it. Only to find afterwards we were told that the materials responsibility payments will be taken by an incoming contractor that will be appointed. And that contractor happened to be Conco. Then something came up again to say, but you cannot pay all that material. We'll have first to evaluate it to see it, is it in a good condition? Then we were surprised again. So that's why I say I vehemently disagree with what has been presented in the report to say that DIT only became aware of our outstanding payment issue on the 15th of June, on the 21st of June, upon receiving a letter that was written by the SMMEs. That is contradictory at its best. Then on the 9th, we received a letter from Condocor, where Condocor was instructing us and threatening us simply to say that DID, you must keep to your lane. You cannot meet with our contractors because they are still having a contractual obligation with us. Meeting with them, it will affect the process of a close-up, they call it a close-up process whereby they have to pay, make the last payment, the final payments. So I responded to that letter. It was on the 9th of February. I sent the letter to Sizanele to say, on the meeting that we had on the 5th, you have promised that, guys, you'll pay. Here now we are receiving a threatening letter from the contractor who happened to have been a part of the meeting which we had with DID, the consultants, as well as the representative of the contractors. Now he's threatening that we must not meet with you as DID. And we don't have confidence into this contractor that he'll be able to settle our accounts because he does not have money. We have been using our own money to run this project from the onset. So since he's no longer on site, we don't believe he will pay us. He's stating that he's got a contractual obligation with us. But in terms of construction, we are governed by only two agreements. We've got an NEC agreement, NEC3 agreement. We've got a JBBC agreement. Yeah, we don't have both of those agreements. What he has given to the contractors, it's only appointment letters. It's only appointment letters, not contracts which have terms and conditions that are being governed by the construction sector. Then now here's this issue. When we write to Mrs. Zanele on the 26th, he never responded. Here's the letter. Then we again made a follow-up letter to Mrs. Zanele to say, that was on the 22nd of March, to say you have failed to respond to our request to have a meeting with your office in order for us to get the proper clarity of what is going to happen with our outstanding payments. Therefore, we give you an ultimatum. Failing to respond to us by the 25th of March, we'll have to escalate the matter to the higher office, which is your MEC, and will also report the matter to the portfolio committee of GDID that we have failed to come to our rescue. Because we have tried to engage with you telephonically and with WhatsApp, but you don't come back to us at all. Immediately on the 25th, I received a response from Mrs. Zanele to say that no, he has passed our letter to the office of HOD, whereby the HOD will take a decision. And he also brought it to our attention the first time that the contractor has launched an application for arbitration, declaring a dispute. It was the first time that we heard of that. Then on the notes underneath, he categorically stated that DID does not have a contract with the subcontractors, and therefore it cannot be held liable for these payments. So we were caught off guard with what has just been said by my honorable chairman here, to say who is protecting these MMEs, because according to the 2017 procurement framework, it states clearly that wherever there's a project that is more than 30 million, a set aside of 30% must be given to the local SMME, taking consideration to the designated groups, which are your veterans, which are your physically disabled people, women and youth. And if you need the tender documents, it's stated that the contractor must make an undertaking that he's got agreements from the local that they must sign when he submits the tender documents. It must come with those agreements to say, I've taken so much, it can be 5 or 10 of the local SMMEs. They will form part of this project, and they'll be the ones that I give the 30% to. You give us the 30%, and after that, you don't regulate it. You come to us and you tell us that you don't have a contractual obligation with us. Is that possible? Because that preferential procurement framework is something that has been legislated. Why are you leaving us with the lions? Because Mrs. Zanele will always come on site and you will see that there are contractors here. There are subcontractors that are working. Has he ever compiled a report on that? Has he ever made sure that how much have you made sure that the 30%, which was amounting, because the project was 220 million, which was supposed to be plus minus 60 million, did she make sure that money, it goes to the people who it's supposed to go to? Because it's not only a matter of money, it's a empowerment in the first place. Secondly, eradication of poverty within the areas where these projects are being carried out. Thirdly is the transfer of skills, which is very important. So why they don't monitor and evaluate these things? And these things are in it's the law. So that's why I vehemently disagree, Mr. Chairman, to say these people, they know what they are doing. I'm coming back to the words of the gentleman that is sitting next to you to say he smells a rat here. I've said it before, and I'll still say it now. When it comes to our officials, they always protect the contractors at the expenses of subcontractors. And they knew very well when this project started, it was the biggest project, 220 million, but that contractor did not have money. I'm the one who have helped him to garner enough subcontractors locally who had the financial muscle to carry out that project. And it will be the first time that we have found ourselves in this situation whereby a project is done by DID, then afterwards a contractor runs away with the SMME's monies. I'm one of the victims. Even SARS is still on top of me now for the money that I've not used. So, Minister Loam, I've got all the paper trails here, which speaks contrary to the report that has been presented to you. And on the second note, on this report, there are two issues that are keep on cropping up. Is that DIT doesn't have a contractual obligation with us. Okay, it's fine. Secondly, there's this issue that riles me to say the local SMMEs are the ones that have delayed the project to start for the new contractor. That's pure lies. You have not delayed the second contractor, which happens to be Conco, to start. Instead, you have been working hand in hand with Conco. The acting DG can attest to that. Whenever they phone me, they call me to a meeting to come and discuss issues at DID. I would come. I've come almost 3 times. Respecting what? Respecting the DID and respecting the fact that we want that hospital to be completed. But this report is riddled time and again that the local SMM is running a riot, threatening the contractor there. We went to the hospital premises that was once in June when we saw there's a movement, and we're under impression that to say why they didn't inform us when they are going to start with the works. We went, then the security said we cannot allow you in. There are there are people that are working Conco. Let us call them. They called them. After calling them, it was Duncan Masangu, the manager from Conco. He said, Brasem, we are not working. We have made a mistake by not informing you local guys because you still have got an issue of non-payment. What we are doing assessments for remedial works and also to see to it if we change the system and start plastering the buildings that have been erected there. So I phoned Kenze. Kenze attested to that. I called Entebbe because from the MEC's office, he was the one that was helping us that time. He also attested to that. Then we left peacefully. At no stage you have ever threatened the contractor at site. You can refer back, my honorable chairman, I've got the papers here. It has been clearly stated by Conco what has led to the delays of them in occupying the site. It's an incorporation from the project manager, in which you refer to as IPM. That's basically the consultant. The consultant, I've been phoning him time and again during the period of June up until December. He will always tell me that DID has not yet given me a permission to issue out a letter of commencement of works and for the site handover to whom? To Conco. Here's the report of Conco. My honorable chairman. In this report, stating that we have been delayed because all that we have submitted has not been responded to. By whom? By the consulting engineers. We have written a letter after the 22nd when we were summoned to the offices of DID, where we were told that, guys, just forget about your monies because we have received what is called an advice from our legal department to say that we don't have a contractual agreement with you. But I think, Mr. Fihlane, works are about to start in December. At least you'll get something from there. The department, what it can do, we can only help you with the Vets Law School that you must take a legal route and sue Condocor. We said, no, that we cannot do because we know these are things of suing and all that are very long and very protected. They'll drain you. I know people who have died having sued the government, contractors who have died having sued the main contractors. So we have been abiding with all things. We have been helping the DID to say, change the systems. do this, do that. But at the end of the day, we are painted as bad people. There was no necessity to go out, my honorable chairman, to pay a lot of money to a shyster and shrewd lawyers so that they can compile a 29-page report to say how these SMMEs must be locked up. The government have come with the new systems. They must be indicted so that they must not even come to the site and all that. You see, instead of taking that money and giving to us to share it among ourselves so that we can be able to buy a meal. Instead of these people doing their work, they are hiding behind their lawyers. And the lawyers, which I believe, they only know in the book about construction. They've never been at the coalface of things regarding working directly, building something or being involved within the construction sector. They just check books and said, why always are we taking to the lawyers? Why don't you go to the lawyers and say, let us craft the best mechanisms that can protect these SMMEs? So, Mrs. Zanele, sibhlungu kakhulu sisi uyabona, that today, after being so cooperative with you guys, trying to help where we help, being so patient, then we find that we are projected in a negative manner, as if we are unruly guys. We are rogue elements, just like these forums that are cropping up all over the place. We're trying our level best to make sure the hospital is completed so that our parents can be in a position to get their medicines locally, not traveling to Paraguay every time. So we plead with you, Ntate Kgobu, we have tried to raise this issue as we were invited to the stakeholders engagement about 2 weeks ago. That it was a culmination of the letter that we sent in June to the office of Mr. Richard Makamisi, if my memory serves me well, requesting their intervention in this matter, because we believe they are the end users. But I was very surprised. When we got there, I was never even given a 30-second. I don't know, is Dr. Who, the chairman, when I tried giving an opportunity to talk to raise the matter, he said, answer. When the gentleman came to answer, he said, there's number 1, there's number 2, there's number 3. Me, I'm number 4. I've got nothing to do with this. These people have been told that they don't have a contractual obligation with us. I saw that he's a very old guy, and I've been taught to respect elders. I waited until the meeting was finished. I engaged with him to give him the dynamic, because I could see that he doesn't have the dynamics of this dilemma that we are facing. Then he kept on saying, I've paid the Condocor. There's no money that I will pay. The idea has never given me an invoice. Then the lady out of Botu, the CFO, then the lady said, no, man, I think these people have got a case. We must help in this matter. Let us call the office of the treasury, let us call the relevant CFOs of both the departments, the HODs and so on. Then Tategobu interjected. He said, if you can help these people, you lose your job. Instead of coming with a creative thinking to say, yes, the problem, we are seeing it. Let us not go behind the lawyers for them to try to solve the problem that we see. It needs us to think creatively. How can we help these people who are woman-owned companies, it's physically disabled people, it's youth-owned companies? We have tried their level best to uplift their lives, to give employment to those who are despondent. I was very disappointed with you, Ntate Kgomo, because you showed us that you've got the lever powers and no, you are an untouchable. Instead of helping us to resolve the matter as an adult in an Ubuntu way, instead of having a humility in your heart to have a feel to say, let me think how best we can engage with DID to resolve this issue. You chose to throw your weight around. And whereby you also indicated, I'm not surprised in Tate Chairman, why there's a delay in taking a decision in this. He made it clear in Tate Kgomo, Ori, I won't allow DID to repropose that because I'm a clinician myself. I've never seen them such a thing whereby they do a hospital of ICU with 300 beds. That's their own problem. So it's some of the things that we are picking up, and those things you are not aware of. It's just people are playing with power to show who is who. So we have lost confidence to say if this matter will ever be resolved to the best amicable way. Because our MECs are not here. I've met with MEC on the 13th of August, MEC Motara. We reported the matter. He said her hands are tied. Then we met with the Premier. Then he delegated the matter to the Rapid Task Team. I sent them all the necessary documentations. Then they never got back to me. Reported the matter to Ntate Pakstau. That was in October during their visit in Sidibeng. They never got back to me. So we are just frustrated with the manner in which even the MECs have seen that this meeting is not important. What is important is to urgently attend when they are summoned by the Premier, because we know every time when they don't want to come to the meeting, they say the Premier has urgently summoned us, so we cannot make it to that meeting. So it clearly shows that the matter will never be resolved. But I have the highest confidence in my honorable chairman as well as his committee that they will do their level best as long as we agree with the timelines of when this matter needs to be resolved. I've presented to you, Honorable Chairman, the breakdown of the monies that are owed to these people, as well as the monies that they need to pay to the loan sharks or their suppliers and all that. So ke a le kopa bontate le bommene, ke kopa ha le tloa mona ka ska chairman ntate chairman a ileng a tjho ha ke le lo dula fatshe e ra o robetse o le mong o ko etse self introspection hore le etswa keng le bena le dipelo tse thata ha kana hore le ka sokodisa batho ba patalwe lona le sale le lwansana le Condocor bane le na le tsona di lawyera rona re be re patetse. When it comes to budget overruns, you don't have a project to add. I've seen the reports on the previous meeting. It's all red. There's no green one because this budget, this project was budgeted for 5 million. Then in all of a sudden, there are deviation and it has escalated to 22 million. Then it was approved. It's approved. It's approved. Why does this 16 million is not treated the same? Because we did not steal any people's money. We have executed work, we have done our work, we have completed it. We don't form part of the termination. That is between who? It's between Condocor and the what? And DID. Because we were not privy, as I've said before, what has led to the termination. So we request you, or go and check yourselves into your heart. I'll still repeat again. Danike no jonga tata nisiqwalasele ngaphakathi. ukuba nifuna ubona ezi khampani njengoba zilapha ziwile abantu bazo baliquidate. After being liquidated, they'll still be indebted to the loan sharks who will make their lives miserable. As I believe you all come from the townships, you know how the loan sharks are operating. Please, we implore you, we request you, siyanincenga, sibhataleni, sisuke phambi kwenu, nizawukleyima zonke ezo mali kwikhondokho ngokuba ninawo amandla weloya. Siyacela tata. Ngokuba anihloniphi nekomiti portfolio committee, nipha i-report ezi-wrong, akusekho nix endiyithembayo kulo. Ngokuba nisivalela ngathi, you are shielding yourself to say, no, these are the main problems in making the project not to be successful, and which is not the case. All we are requesting is that just pay us so that singasuka. And tate, we don't even interested in being giving a second chance to work with the new incoming contractor. We request, we plead with you, just pay us. I'll see only more on a statement to correct it. The lady, the CFO, has clearly put it. I was laughing when you said, do you retract or what? She has clearly stated that she doesn't have a problem to pay. So ka kopa le ska tswa mona le dula until 12 o'clock le resolve hore ntwa rona le itetla jwa. Ke a le kopa bontate, ke a leboha ka mantswe a. Ao ba shele.
Traveler. Prasem has took a lot of things, but you're talking to Windsor Wakama Imela from a company called 2020 Manufacturers Project. We were doing aluminium works there. I've got a company that I started in 2011. Carry plan. I just want to give you an overview because I know Uguti, even a demon-possessed person, sometimes in the name of Jesus, can be rescued. These government officials don't have heart because they don't even know where we come from. With the companies that we have, it is difficult as a black youth to can start a company here in South Africa. In 2011, I was still under youth. I think I was around 31, I think. I tried NYDA, these things, all these government things, looking for money to start a company because I was exposed to engineering at a young age. But I failed because they wanted a surety and my mother was working in farms. I didn't have a surety. I went to my uncle who was having a company doing gaskets. I asked my uncle, look, uncle, I've got a plan here. Can you please take my card, pay 20,000 every month for the next 6 months and use it with my card so that I can have a loan from the bank. That happened. I went to the bank, I got 200,000. I bought my first machines. From then, my company was going up and up and up and up. Until I was visited by Condoco and DID and its contractor called Condoco. I had around, I think it was around 2 million or so into the account, but I know I have to pay some accounts and everything like that. They came and then they didn't have money. I took all the money and it was not enough. I had to go to the loan sharks to do the project.
I had to be in business mostly because of if you are a physically challenged man, it's difficult for you to can go and be employed anyway. Especially if you are not educated, difficult to get education because I finished with flight colors. It was called grade 12. I had an exemption. I was good in maths and mathematics. I tried bursaries, failed. My mother couldn't take me anyway. She doesn't have money to take me anyway. I have to come up with plan to survive. But I'm sitting with you here today because of this DID, with this conduct core who was imposed to us by DID. I'm sitting here owing 6 months. My machines are locked in a company. This matter is very, very urgent. Very, very urgent. We got a final demand from the supplier of 250,000. I'm owing the guys who worked there because we were doing day and night shift. I'm owing 220,000. I was paying them bit by bit. But now the company, you can even go and it's closed. Like I don't have money to pay the landlord. There is 4 million machines. And if this company will be closed forever, where will I get work? Who in this time can employ a physically challenged man? Whereas there is a lot of people who are physically fit who are not even working. Somebody says does not have contract. They say it's a state attorney. It was a state attorney. Who is the state? You are a public representative. You are department. We are the public. The day you signed to get into a department, you must know that you have a contractual obligation with us. That moment when you sign and accept that job, you can't come here and say you don't have a contractual obligation with us. We are the public. So please, man, I know we'll be, the MECs are not here. We are looking for the MECs, but please let us get a way to resolve this thing as soon as possible. I am in trouble, to tell you the truth. You can assign even the chairman or anybody to come to the company and see what is happening. It's closed. I had 22 people working there.
Good day. My name is Pule. I'm representing Olisima Solutions. What I'm going to talk about is about the way you're treating us as people with disability in this matter. Because this matter is taking so long and we cannot also be coming to the meetings without any solutions because of our physical status. And we also have what do you call we also have complications. So we need to have a solution as quick as possible. So, Mr. Mdadan, you are the head of the department. We are all looking up on you. And we need assistance because we cannot use force, as you can see. We've got disabilities. That is why we've been so patient so long until now. But as humans, you know, at the end of the day, we're going to run out of patience. So all we are asking is for resolutions as soon as possible. Thank you. Okay.
Dumelang Sanmonan. My name is Sello Maimani. I also represent Ulisema Solutions. As you have seen us, both of us here are people, are persons with disabilities. And we went into entrepreneurship as an opportunity for us to come out as an inspiration to people who are like us. Given the challenges that disabled people experience as a group that has been disadvantaged before, it became an opportunity for us, to showcase the possibilities beyond the challenges that we face, that even people with disabilities can make a living. Entrepreneurship became a platform for us that basically would enable us to attain this objective. Just like my brother that has given his story, the challenges that he's experienced, the journey that he has taken to get to where he is, we've also gone through the same thing. We've also managed through hustling as entrepreneurs from township, managed to get to a point where we were until we came across the opportunity that was presented to us by Condocor, mainly by the government, by the state itself. Despite which organs are involved in that, it's still the state. And that basically became an opportunity for us. It's so unfortunate that things have turned out the way they have. It's sad for us to have gone through this without any protection from the very same people that we believed, given the roles that they play, will definitely give us the protection that we deserve. I'm quite sure that majority of us here, SIC, majority of people who are here are Black people. We all come from, majority probably also come from townships. We have mostly same backgrounds. We've all struggled. And some of us, or some of you, have managed to take yourself from such situations, and have managed to purchase yourself houses in suburbs, in places that have made your life more easily manageable, where you're able to provide for yourselves and basically become a success, and certainly have become an inspiration to the likes of us, who are probably also still coming up, looking up to you and saying, we also would like to be like that and inspire others to follow us. It really saddens, it's really embarrassing, it's really not something that anyone can be proud of when you have people who have the same background, who have come from where you come from, and are the ones today who actually are stepping on you, blocking your way, and not playing a role that they should be playing. The rejections, the disappointments, all the things that have been occurring or happening since this thing has been happening for over years. And it's been one of our own brothers, our own sisters, who have actually been making it so hard for us to survive. We have, as disabled owned business, managed to create employment for other able-bodied people who don't have entrepreneurship mindset and all of that. Given the challenges that we experience as disabled people with regards to accessibility and other things, we were able to push and on our own get to a point where we are now. Now we have a responsibility to go back to the very people that we sort of at the time were an inspiration to them. We now have to go back and tell them that we cannot anymore carry on. We have to go back and tell them that we cannot even so pay them what we owe them. They actually worked. They went and clocked in and delivered the service that was required. We practically owe them the money. We don't have any defense mechanism. Physically, there's nothing we can do. Our lives are threatened. We have to always come up with stories and all of that to protect ourselves. We've got our own families too. We've got kids. We have families, not only kids. We've got our mothers, our brothers, our fathers that are basically depending on us, that we need to provide. Not only those, we've got extended family members who also look up to us and hoping that we can change their lives. We went into entrepreneurship because we believed that it is the right platform to use to change lives. All I ask to you as our leaders, as people that have been given the opportunity to change lives, unlike entrepreneurship, your role also is important. All you have to do is to just change lives. You come with programs, initiatives that change lives. And unlike us, the funds are there. They're made available. It's the public money that is there. What is needed from you is strategies, methods, whatever solutions you come up with to attain the very objective of changing lives. With us, we have to go and come up with plans, with strategies similar to you, probably, but we have to source funds somewhere else. It's not made available for us, but with you, it's there. But from what I've heard that we've overspent up to 500 and something million, and yet there's a group of people who in fact have committed their own money with the belief that they can make a difference for themselves. They wanted to attain the very same thing that you guys have to achieve. They made it easy for you and committed and put their money into it. Despite any other challenges, they continued. And today, they are not basically honored the way they should be. It's really painful, to be quite honest with you, to be knowing that you've gone to a project and spend your own money, your own effort, and then later on, you're not paid for that. As I speak to you, we don't know what to say anymore to the people that we've employed. They don't believe anything else that we tell them. According to them, just like any employee, if your employer says they can't pay you because the client is not paying, that doesn't make sense at all. Anything can happen for whatever reason. Anything can happen. They have a right to do whatever they want. We have a problem. All we're asking is humanity. There is that side. I understand politics. I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman. I'm not a politician. All I want is to make a difference in this world through business. I'm inspired by the likes of Motsepe, by the likes of Maponya. I also want to see myself being looked up to by young ones, having seen the work that I've done. But I cannot have my own brothers and sisters, my own African brothers and sisters put me down in such an aspiration that makes it different, that basically would have more value. In actual fact, business people residing in townships makes life easy for you as politicians. Because when they come and deliver the service that you have initiated, you get to gain more. But if you step on them and you block their way forward, or you're not adding value to their progress, you're basically shooting yourself also in the foot. South Africa is a beautiful country. I'm very proud of it. There's a lot that can be attained in this country. I understand there's issues of corruption and all of that. Corruption is everywhere anyway. But when you now have to take it to an extent where people who have actually delivered the work physically can be seen, we're not asking for donations. We're not asking for you to give us money for something that we haven't done. What we're saying is, pay us for the work we've done. We've done the work. Physically is there. Why is it so difficult after having wasted 570 million for whatever reasons, but not be able to pay only 16 million? 16 million. That's all we're asking. Why would you have so many projects that we've seen when they were reported with so much variations, money being added, budgets increased to over, I don't know how much, probably close to 1 billion, and then not be able to just settle 16 million. We've got paperwork to prove We've got invoices that can be validated. We've got physical structures that can be seen, but we're not being listened to. It's really sad, it's really painful. And this is done to us. Not only disabled people, we've got women as one of the suppliers. We've got as one of the suppliers, we've got youth, we've got other black men who, in fact, given the challenges that they have, could opt to do crime, but opt to go and do business. And they find themselves in this kind of a position. And I'm thinking this is not the only group. In other areas, probably they go through this and so on and so on. We are very grateful for the opportunity that has been given to us to come and express ourselves and tell you our stories. Maybe because we haven't, before all of this, when it was happening, you've never heard our voices. You've never heard us express how we feel, how this impacts us. Now that we have done so, probably today, you will understand and know that you have to do the right thing. You have to resolve the problem and just pay us our money. That's all we're asking from you. It doesn't help to come up with a solution of violence and all of that ends nowhere. It's a waste of time. There's no growth in that. There's no progress in that. The very same infrastructure that we've managed to build, we go back and destroy that. That's stupidity. That's not what we want. And hopefully that's not what will happen, because we have put an effort. We cannot build something and go back and destroy. There's no progress in that. What we've built is something that we want to see being used by our fellow brothers and sisters, by those who are not employed, by those who don't have any future prospects, whatever the case may be. But those grannies who in fact are supporting the households. You know, there are many people who stay in townships who are struggling, who in fact, once that hospital is erected, will benefit from that. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we're working for. That's what we are committing to. And believe you me, we've done the best we could. We've pooled our monies, our last monies, because we believed in the project. We've even created employment for people who are staying there. We did it ourselves. We paid the people that were staying there with our own money, without being paid by the main contractor. We carried that project to the time it lasted. We did that. Why are you then fighting us? Why are you making it difficult for us when the only thing we've done was the right thing? Why are you making it so hard for us to basically be able to furthermore continue this goodness that we're doing, to continue this mindset that we have in benefiting others somewhere else in other areas as well? Because we business people, we certainly want to grow and become global like everybody else. The way we are approaching business, the way we're doing things, basically, if we then continue with your support, we'll make a big difference. Why are you then not enabling that? Why are you not empowering that? Why are you not driving that? Why are you then coming to us and say it is us that are wrong, therefore you cannot help us? Why don't you fight the very people, Kondoko, who has the resources, who is the one that hasn't been paying us? Fight them with the resources that you have, which is the state, and settle it with them and recover whatever losses that you think are there through from Kondoko, and just settle what you guys owe us. And then see how far this is a partnership we're actually proposing with you. It's a way forward. We're not fighting with you. We're not doing that. But all we're asking is Botu. Botu. Ake hani ki chelete, ake hani ki this and that, then I did the processes, and I did procedures, and I did this and that. I understand all of that. This thing has taken too long now. It's over years. We've followed all the procedures, the processes. We've done the best we could. It is time that you resolve it and just pay us. That's all we're asking. Just pay us. It's only 16 million versus all the losses we've experienced with all the projects that you've been involved in. Just 16 million. Just pay us. Thank you.
Dumelang kaofela. Lebitso la ka ke Gloria Mokone. Company ya ka it's TNK Masters, a plumbing company based mo Vereeniging next to Kopanong Hospital. Ntho e nkutlwisang bohloko ke hore ke startile le project from day one. Ho sena metsi, ho sena everything. And then somebody from Kondoko ang phonela ang jwetsa a re o kopa ke tle site-eng ke tlo ba hulela metsi in order hore ba bane le metsi, and it was during COVID, so we needed hore ho bane le metsi. I did that. Electrical cables. Ke ile ko site-eng, I did that with my own money. Ba sa mpha nix. After ba mfa appointment letter, I had to wait for in order for Kondoko to impatale just for invoice A1 and it is 250,000. Ke startile project ka my own money. Hona jwale tjenana a kena tjhelete. SARS is after me. Nedbank took my car. E ke ne ke etsa business ka yona due to non-payment. Bana ba ka ha ba kgone ho ya sekolong. Every day ba tla ka mangolo a sekolong a school fees. Di-loan shark because ke rekile material ka fellwa ke tjhelete. I had to ke tsamaya ke lo kadima tjhelete because dibanka ha di re kadime tjhelete. Ke nkile tjhelete ko di-loan shark knowing hore ke tlo patala for the project, but I didn't get paid to do the work. Loan shark every month ba tla ke motho wa mosadi e ne le nna fela motho wa mosadi projecteng ba tla haka ka tlung ba nsupa ka dithunya ba batla tjhelete ya bona. I live in fear. Ke tshaba le ho ya strateng because ke dula ke tshepiswa hore ba tlo mbolaya for tjhelete. Bophelo ba ka bo boima, not ba ka fela kaofela re le so bo boima. Re entse mosebetsi. Ha ra utlwisa motho bohloko, ha ra utswa tjhelete ya motho hore re lo etsa mosebetsi. Re entse mosebetsi. So why in return we have to suffer? Ke motho wa mosadi, ke na le bana. Monna ka no o batla ho tlohella mosebetsi in order hore a thole sente eo re patale whatever. Ha qeta ho thola sente eo re patala whatever, how are we going to live? How are we going to survive? Ke kopa le ke le bule dipelo tsa lona for just once. Ke kopa le re patale. Ha ona se se re se entseng. We just ask, please just pay us. SARS in dutse molaleng every day. O se morini wa tseba ke mo romela mangolo a SARS almost every week. Ya attach SARS. Business ya ka no I operate because SARS is tshwere ntho tsa ka. A ke na tax clearance. Ha government is wa e protector batho ba sa itekenelang basadi. Why rona re sa kgone ho protect you? Rona re entse eng? Kapo because re tswa vale o thwe re di stupid ke re ho thwe batho ba vale ke di stupid ba bua. Somebody la bua a re ha ene le Pretoria e le somebody wa Pretoria projecting a kene ka sethunya nkebe le gale hampi di ba patetse. So rona just because ha rena dithunya that's why re treatwang so. Le rona re batho re na le maikutlo. Kopa le bule pelo tsa lona le re patale. Thank you.
Put in the mic. Thanks. You know, that Shishan, where is he? Okay. No, it's fine. Don't worry. I can't remember it was him, and I know you were there. You were there in the hospital on that Saturday when we were doing an oversight. We made a commitment on that day that we'll see this matter through. And we're doing our level best as a committee. Because anything and everything that we do ought to be within the ambit of the law. Can't go beyond what law says to us. We said, let's use the committee to fight for you. The reason we invited you to this was officials are here from both departments. That's why we had invited both MECs and their HODs so that they can hear firsthand from yourselves. So that tomorrow as a committee, when we call them into a meeting and you are not there and we sit down, we are able to reach a solution based on your discussions. It's not us who relay your story. It's not Maureen forwarding your emails. It's you yourselves who are able to tell them what you go through. Because it's easy for me to say some of them are losing their houses, but the question is, can they believe me? But you are here, you are saying it. What was said to you? Who said, "Hey, I won't do this"? And it's not an issue for us. There will be a meeting amongst ourselves when you are not there. But the one thing that you are correct on is that solution ought to be found. But whatever solution that we arrive at, legally we must be correct. It's not a matter of that I'm pressing a button, sending an email to a CFO, press enter, and then you get your money. If it was that easy, we would have long done it. But from your situation, what are we learning moving forward? So that next time this thing doesn't happen again, not only to you, but across the province. I personally happy that you came. I'm personally happy that you honored our invite. When you said was, every time when you say was years, but it must come to an end. You cannot perpetually come when we call you and raise one thing over and over. The reason we ask you today, because we believe that both MECs will, including the MEC of Finance, by the way, I had invited MEC Nkomora Lehoko, responsible for finance, so that she can sit here and hear your story. So that amongst themselves as political heads can find a mechanism somewhere to say, how best do we resolve this problem? I'm making an appeal again. Allow us as a committee to fight for you. I'm sure you would also agree to say from the time we met for our first engagement, if we were other people who have said, hey, because our lives is in danger, okay, we are committing, as soon as we leave yes, who do they think they are, these people? But we kept to our commitment. Time and again, your issue is raised. That will tell you, time and again, your issue is raised. But today, I'm happy you have been able to cough out. HOD from health, she's new. She doesn't know anything of what has happened to you. But by law, it's a responsibility. By law. So what we can tell you is that the next invite that you get will be to say, come and hear there's a solution. Right or wrong, solution will be taken, or a decision will be arrived at. It might favor you, it might not, but we will have done our work. So that the same way you are asking them, they must do introspection, you must do the same. Once the decision has been taken, you must be able to say, oh, wow, we lost. There's nothing we can do. It's money down the drain, and so on and so forth. Oh, finally, thank God, we are going to be paid so that we can be able to pay whatever it is that is outstanding and see how best we move forward. But we are going to arrive at a decision. That I can promise you. A decision we'll arrive at it. We'll communicate with you. And not via email. We'll still call you so that we sit here, we tell you. And if you are saying it's a partnership, this thing, we're building something. Let's do that. Let's work in that context. And I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson, and especially to our stakeholders in the department. It's indeed, it's very sad for us to have to listen and to what our stakeholders, our partners have gone through. And I really do want to appeal to the department to find that solution. If the CFO could say that it's so easy to pay the people, then let's hope that we can have a solution before the end of June, as you have already alluded to, Chairperson. And then also, if there is action to be taken against Concor from the side of the from our partners and our stakeholders, can the department then also partner with these stakeholders in taking action against not Concor, Condacor, in finding a solution to this very unfortunate situation? But let it also be a lesson for us that when we write these contracts, and our colleague there made a very, very good point, and I made note of that. If it is that 30% value of a contract is to upskill, to eradicate and empower previously disadvantaged or the poor, then how can it be that we are not monitoring and evaluating what we are supposed to be doing? I really want to appeal the department to add an addendum to their contracts that would, with contractors that would exactly do that, to monitor and evaluate the 30% that we allocate in contracts to upskilling, empowering, and eradicating poverty. Thank you very much to all the departments that came out. And I almost want to apologize to the two HODs, but I can't do that. But I almost want to apologize that you have to, as the heads, be whipped like the way we are. But ultimately, somebody needs to go back and take responsibility for the wrongs that is currently happening. And we will not allow this rat to get away. We will continue to fight and fight for all our people. Because believe it or not, we all feel the pain of these stakeholders. Thank you very much for coming out, and again, travel safe. Thank you.
Member Hoffman.
Thank you very much, Chair. Am I audible? Am I audible, Chair?
Member Hoffman, maybe it's a legacy hand. Don't you think so?
Yes. Am I audible?
Oh, he's talking.
Yes.
Oh.
Thank you, Chair, and to all the stakeholders and everybody there. I do really appreciate the inputs that the stakeholders have given.
Member Hoffman.
Now, yes, can you hear me, Chair?
Yeah, can you start from scratch so we can hear you?
Okay, perfect. I'll do so. Can you hear me?
Crystal clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. I want to firstly thank everybody for coming out, and then especially the stakeholders or the subcontractors that told their stories. I think, you know, that this gives us a whole new meaning to this whole debacle, and we can now hear firsthand what went wrong. With that being said, Chair, I think it is imperative to tell the stakeholders and the contractors or subcontractors that this is not an easy fix. I think we have to be very clear on that. Contractually and with the financial management, FMMA or PFMA, it's not an easy fix, but I think that if we put our heads together, that we can come up with a solution. And I think there should be a lesson to us all that when we do contracts, you know, the buddy economic empowerment system doesn't work anymore. People get hurt by companies that fly-by-night companies that comes in and get contracts, and then they get huge payouts beforehand, and then they employ subcontractors, and then they run for the hills. I think that it is further imperative that we talk about this seriously, and that there's a better system that we implore, and then that the members of these committee take a stark stance against employees of the department that has their finger in the till and give these contracts out and do not do their due diligence and background checks on these companies before they employ them. I think it's very important that those individuals that are involved in this be brought to book and brought to justice and go to jail, because those individuals are the ones that are hurting these subcontractors. And people that not only lose their possessions, their cars and stuff like that, but their credit record for the rest of their life will be tainted by what happened here. And it was not their fault. So I would like to implore and also say what our other colleague said, that we have to look at this much more serious, and that the department must bring those contracts and show them to the committee so that we can see if there's any adjustments or something that we can maybe do to get these contracts to be better managed. And then the department from their side must wake up and take responsibility for this mess. And I hope that the new HODs or the HODs that is employed there, that they will do their jobs. For the other employees of the department, I hope they will run for the hills as well, because I think it's about time that the SIU and all these departments get involved, and that we get these guys and bring them to book. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Member Hoffman. Let's take a question.
Thank you very much. Covered the question.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, Ntate Diak has closed our meeting. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, are we not expected to respond?
No, you'll respond to us when we call you.
Oh,
Yeah. Angethi now we're giving you to go and work, figure out when we call you, we want solution. Yes. So that we can then call them to a meeting. Thank you. Yeah. When